we're moving on to a new project, and I'm really excited about this. Today we are talking about books. Cultural books that kind of started this influencer type of storytelling, cultural landmarks books. Books of inspiration, books of groundbreakers, books of research for other books that I may want to do one day, books of incredibly talented friends, photographers and creators and challenging thinkers and storytellers, both visually and of the word. Books of just people enjoying life and showing that, and then having someone go out there, talk to these people and capture it. And books of something that we may never live through again. All of these books are inspiration. And today we're going to be talking about my journey with books. Started with this guy right here, contributing book to New York City on Instagram, published by Rizzoli Books. This was an important book. This was a book that opened doors. This was a book that made me realize that digital images translate to print and translate well when they're done right. So, big one. This book was huge. Statue of Liberty was a client of mine. Statue of Liberty Ellis Island Foundation was a client of mine. And they were producing a book, again, with Rizzoli Books in New York and a global publisher. Just really an incredible company that celebrates life. It celebrates art. It celebrates lifestyle. It celebrates the things that make life beautiful. And that's something that I try and do in my photography. This book had a number of my images in it. Actually, it was in the running for the cover of this book, but I didn't get it. But in the email where I was told that my image wasn't going to be the cover of this book, I threw it out there that that's fine, and Rizzoli could make it up to me by giving me my own book. And they responded that they would love to work with me on my own book. So, enter in this book, New York from the Air. This was my first solo book. All my images, all aerial images that spanned probably a course of, at that point, it was probably 5 years. I learned a lot with this book. I learned how to talk to publishers. I learned which battles I was going to lose between practicality and creativity. I learned to have a voice for myself. I learned to fight for the things that I wanted. I learned how to map out a concept. All of these things happened in this book, which is available on all major book outlets still, if you'd like to. So now we're moving on to a new project, and I'm really excited about this. So this book, we are teaming up, I am teaming up once again with Rizzoli Publishing. Like I said, I really love the way this company handles their printing, everything. From concept to conversations to design to printing, everything is handled with the utmost care. And as an artist, as a photographer, I want to make sure that my art is taken care of and shown in the best way possible. This book is going to be completely black and white. All photography, all New York. The only difference this time is that there is going to be a combination of aerial and groundwork. The concept is going to be New York over the last 10 years and how so much has changed. We have so many new buildings that so many people have so many feelings about, and my job not necessarily isn't to have an opinion, but my job, I see it, is to document and chronicle the ever-changing skyline of New York City. So I'm really, really excited to dive into what it takes to create a book like this. So why black and white? For me, black and white photography, black and white imagery has this unique way of drawing the viewer into a frame. There isn't any real insinuation of time in that everything, let's say a lot of things that are shot or presented in black and white have this timeless feel to the images. The other aspect that I'm really excited about is just how much the the light, right? As a photographer, it's my job to capture light. So how much the light is being emphasized, how I'm shooting is different. How I'm treating these images is different. I've wanted to do a black and white publication for some time, and I want it to feel timeless. I want it to feel culturally appropriate. I want it to feel like this could have been taken at any time in the history of New York, but also at the same time a nod to how, especially in New York, not much isn't changing, if that makes sense. Did I say that right? Maybe I said that right. My goal for this book is to create something that can sit on a coffee table and that people can leaf through and find these moments that they can connect to that are uniquely and unmistakably New York iconic moments, iconic landmarks. Anything that has to do with New York, we are going to try and make its way into this book. And here's where we start to talk about planning. Having a roadmap for something like this, an undertaking like this, where you're talking about 200 to 300 images in a book, can be an undertaking. So, first things first, I need to understand what I have already. We're talking about a retrospective look over the last decade of how New York has changed. So first step is going through my archives. And it's daunting because there's hundreds of thousands of images of New York, and I have to try and whittle these down to a couple hundred. Probably, let's say, our first deep cut is going to be down to 500 images, and then we start to find the thread. But the archive searching and just finding hidden treasures that I've taken over 10 years ago that have never seen the light of day because maybe I didn't have the technical wherewithal to be able to edit these images in a way to bring them to life. So it's been really exciting to find these images that have been tucked away for a decade or more in some instances. So that's the first step. First step, going through the archives. At this point, we are in June. Final selections have to be in October. I am through 2013 through 2016, so I still have a fair amount of years to go through in order to feel like each year and each iteration of New York is represented. We're talking about time from the finishing of the Freedom Tower to Hudson Yards to the emergence of Billionaires Row. All of these things are important developmentally to what we're seeing visually on the skyline today. So a big undertaking, and that we're moving through that, and it's really been exciting to find some of these frames, and I hope are going to make it into the book. The next step is finding the holes. What's missing? What do I feel like I need to truly make sure that New York is represented in the best way possible? Do we talk about the things that happen perennially, special events, 4th of July fireworks, the New York City Marathon, the lighting of the Rockefeller Center tree? All of these things are a part of so many people's traditions that it has to be somehow represented, even if it's the slightest nod. So we start to figure out the list of where the holes are. Where do I have shots of that I didn't like, but I know need to be represented? All of these things are what make up a successful book. Now, let's give an example of me filling in the holes of something that, since I've moved out of the New York metropolitan area, has changed, and changed kind of in a big way. The Brooklyn Bridge is now illuminated with LED lights at night. And that is something that has never been a permanent fixture. Every once in a while there's some art installations or there's some sort of special feature where they have the towers lit, but now it's lit permanently, and that needed to be represented. Now we talk about, how do we show the contrast of that? Do we show a shot of the Brooklyn Bridge without lights at night and then show another one, or do we allow that to stand on its own, right? So here's where some of those filling in the gaps will then get kicked down the road to conversations with my designer. So the next step after all the shooting, all the searching through archives, all the culling down will be layout. And whether or not we want to isolate landmarks, isolate times of the year, or isolate events, times of day. In New York from the Air, the book was plotted out so that it started at sunrise, and at the end of the book we were after sunset into night. That was a design element that I wanted to be in the book so that it felt as though we were going through a day in New York. And as we know, a day in New York, so much can happen. And so, yeah, I wanted to have that packed full. A lot of this is going to be back and forth. So a lot of virtual, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? We start to talk about paper types. We start to talk about what the cover image is going to be. And then we get into printing and test printing. All of these things are essential steps that we are hopefully going to be sharing with you along the way, so that you really kind of get the idea of how much thought, how much work goes into these books that you pick up and thumb through. And yeah, it's the same thing I think that we hope that when you see a video like this or an image that we're sharing, that there's thought. And so the idea of this book, I think for me, has always been to slow down that scrolling culture that we have, that kind of 6-shot, I love it, cool, nice, really awesome, and then you kind of move on with your day. There's an element of permanence here that I really, really love. And if you're a photographer, I can't really begin to express how much printing your work changes you as a photographer. Seeing the successful printing of a digital image, there is a weight to it, there's a feel to it, there is a depth to it. I'm really excited to share this journey and share insights and share maybe some of the difficulties that we're coming up against. Well, I have too many pictures of this particular location. Which ones do I pick? I have not enough of this location. Do I go back and shoot more? All of these things when we're deciding what is making a balanced photo book. When you're going through the experience, just like when you're looking at a picture, right? My job as a photographer is to guide your eye through the frame so that you're experiencing everything in the frame but never leaving the frame. That is the same idea, but now in a book form. So page by page, I either have to up the ante or keep the attention. And how do we do that? These are the things that we hope to share, and we hope that you enjoy it because it's going to be a huge part of this next year for me. And then obviously for Alex and I, we're going to be documenting this in a way that we hope gets people excited about what's coming, because we know we are. So strap in and follow along, because it's going to be a fun year and a half. We're going to be sharing all that with you, and we're super excited about that. So see you out there.